Joining me now to discuss, White House National Economic Director Brian Deese. Brian, it's not one or the other. We need new infrastructure in this country. At the very same time, we've got an inflation issue. What are we doing about it?
Well, Stephanie, it's great to be here to talk to you about it. It's a really important issue, and both these issues are important. Look, the president takes the issue of costs for American people incredibly seriously. His economic strategy, his economic philosophy is based on sitting at that kitchen table and trying to figure out how to make ends meet. We've had an issue with middle-class families facing increased costs for many years in this country. The core things that middle-class families look to need and to spend on: housing, health care, child care, prescription drugs. For years, these costs have been going up and have been squeezing families' budgets. So a core element of our plan is to try to make long-term investments and long-term reforms to make sure that we can bring down those costs. So take prescription drugs. The president will be meeting on this issue today. Allowing Medicare to negotiate for prices will bring down costs of prescription drugs and actually save taxpayers money at the same time. Housing, one of the biggest expenses that families face. We face a decade-long housing supply shortage in this country. We need to build affordable housing supply. When we do it, we'll actually reduce housing prices and make it easier for families to actually move where there's job opportunities. Right now, a lot of families are stuck because there may be a job opportunity in a different area, but they can't afford to live there because of the housing. So our plan is calibrated to try to address those costs that we know that American families are facing, and to do so in a way that's spread out over time and won't increase inflation. It'll actually reduce price pressures in the economy.
One of the challenges, whether it's business leaders or government leaders, is we live in a world of short-termism. And what you're creating are long-term solutions, which we absolutely need. But in the short term, how people feel impacts how they vote almost immediately. So how do you address these inflation needs right now if the next bill gets passed? We are talking $4 trillion. It could overheat the economy in the near term, and that could hurt you in the midterms.
Well, first, it's important we're looking in the near term, too. If we're going to compare to where we were a year ago, it's also important, and I think the American people understand this, we're in a much better place than we were a year ago. Prices have increased, but that's because the economy is not shut down. It's because we're creating 4 million jobs. It's because our economy is growing faster than it has in 40 years. So we're in a much better position than we were a year ago, and that's thanks to in large part to the steps that President Biden has put in place. But over the long term, I really want to take issue with your question about $4 trillion and overheating the economy. The investments in this plan are fundamentally different from this idea of short-term stimulus. They're not actually designed to make investments in the very immediate term that would increase demand in the short term. They're investments like infrastructure, like physical infrastructure, over the course of 6, 8, 10 years. To build affordable childcare across the country. That's not about putting demand into the economy this year. It's about giving families the security that over the next decade, they're going to be able to afford childcare costs. And frankly, if you look at the economic evidence, you look at other countries that have done this, what you do when you make those investments, you increase labor supply. That's a technical way of saying parents, mothers. We still have almost 2 million women who are out of the workforce in this pandemic. That's an absolute crisis. And if we don't fix that over the long term, we're all going to be worse off. We can make these investments over the long term, increase labor supply. That actually reduces price pressures in the economy over the long term. So, yeah, we're obviously in the middle of a political debate about this. The economics are quite strong. But I would note on the politics, the reason why this plan is popular, broadly popular, even in Fox News poll, 60% of the American public supports this, and they support the individual components even more, is because it speaks to practical issues that they face in their lives. The cost of prescription drugs, the ability to afford quality child care. These are issues that middle-class families have been wanting solutions on for years, and I think we'll be able to deliver them here.
We did not have affordable child care in this country before the pandemic. It's now even worse. And this is an opportunity to create something stronger and better in the long term. I do want to show you what some voters who are feeling that pinch that President Biden talked about yesterday, I want to share what some of them said.
I can't hardly afford the same food I bought a year ago. $200 just doesn't go very far in the grocery store anymore.
We're walking out with less and less groceries and seem to be paying more and more.
Since I've started thinking about budgeting, saving a little bit extra, taking the bus more, taking public transit.
In that same Fox poll that you just referenced, 86% of voters also say they're worried about inflation now, and the majority of them are paying more for food, gas, housing. How do we help those people feel okay now?
Well, even as we put in place these long-term plans, there's steps that we're taking right now to address this. Number one, we got to go at supply chain bottlenecks that, because this economy has come back and demand has come back strongly, are keeping goods from moving as quickly as they could, and actually keeping prices up. So we are, whether it's with computer chips and semiconductors, talking to international counterparts to try to make sure that chips are getting here to our producers. Our ports, we are engaging with the port of LA and Long Beach to try to make sure that those blockages that are there, we're trying to do everything we can to encourage those to get unstuck. That's category one. Category two is we have to look at anti-competitive practices in our economy that are actually leading to higher prices than consumers should pay. So, for example, in gas prices, we've seen a phenomenon where oil prices go up and gas prices shoot up like a rocket. But then when oil prices come down, gas prices don't come down at the same rate. That's not how a competitive market would normally work. I sent a letter to the chair of the FTC yesterday encouraging her to use all available tools to make sure that illegal activity, market manipulation, price gouging is not happening, and also to investigate the anti-competitive practices in some of these industries. We heard a little bit about food there. That's an area where we've seen consolidation over the last several years, a smaller number of producers who are making record profits. The first half of 2021, those companies made record profits. And we got to ask hard questions about why, in the context of record profits, are they increasing prices? And what can we do about it? So we're on the case in the short term here, but also, need to make the case to the American people that as this economy recovers, as these price increases dissipate, which nearly all outside analysts expect them to, we've got to invest for the long term. We can't accept an outcome that says we're going to let those 2 million women who left the labor force not participate in the economy going forward. That would be bad for price pressures in the future. So even as we're focused in the short term, we're going to make these long-term investments, and we're going to pay for them too.